Welcome to the South Florida Saltwater Fishing Report. I'm Heath, and it's time to get into the bite. All right, folks, welcome to the show. South Florida's premier resource for everything local fishing. We're going to go over what's biting, who's catching it, where it's being caught. We're also going to cover your future marine forecasts, moon phase, and tide charts. Everything you need to know to help keep you in the bite. Before we get into this, though, if you want to learn more about fishing, grow as an angler, just see some great, exciting offshore fishing adventures, you can start by hitting the subscribe button and joining the South Florida Saltwater Fishing family. All right, folks, so let's get right into this. No news from FWC or NOAA. No closures, no openings going on. The news of the week is actually that as somebody so politely puts it, the fan will keep blowing. We've got a couple of okay days until our next cold front pushes through tomorrow evening, and then the wind is going to pick back up again. So regardless of that, let's see what happened fishing-wise this last week when we had a couple of days we can get out. We'll start with our inshore stuff. Pedro, as usual, hitting it up. He, a few days ago, he went and did some surf fishing, and he got in on the trifecta of the winter fish. As we can see here, he's got some pompano, he's got a bluefish, and he's got the Spanish mackerel. So he started around 7 a.m. This is in Juneau. Pompano on the bottom with sand fleas and fish bites. The bluefish was on a diamond jig, and the max were on crappie jigs. So there you go, a little bit of info about these inshore critters. We'll blow the photo up, give you a little better bit of a look. This is what you're going to see if you are surf fishing. They're starting to pull through. They'll be heading south. So, you get out on the beach and you will see, you'll see schools of mackerel and bluefish. The pompano, you just have to, throw out a chicken rig and see if you can nab them there. As usual, Pedro putting on a clinic with the fish. So we shall go to here's another one with Pedro. He's on the sheep's head. I mean, look at this. He caught this today and he made a nice submission. That's a nice size, man, solid sheep's head. And as we'll see here momentarily, he continues to put on the clinic. He gets out there and definitely gets it done. Let me show you what he caught, actually. That way we can just go on ahead, because this is the inshore bite. Where is it? I know he posted it. Yes, he did. Right here. Here we go. Pedro at the bottom of the 9th inning. Right there. Drifting in the inlet. Perfect. Nice. There's that big one right there. Pedro and Anna. I mean, this is top-notch fishing right here in South Florida, up in Juneau Beach, getting it done. Thanks, as always, Pedro, for the submissions. Man, couldn't do it without you. All right. Let's continue on. We'll look at the inshore bite, right? Let's see if we've got any more true inshore bites before we go on and continue a little bit off into the reef. Yes, we do. Sean with a solid catch of the pompano. So again, these are your surf fishing fish are starting to show up. Pompano, get out there, fish with sand fleas, use a chicken rig. They're up in the water column, maybe sometimes hovering about a foot up off the bottom. Wherever you find them, there's a regulation. I believe it's 12 inches to the fork, from the tip of the nose to the fork. So just be wary of that. And they are also regulated in numbers, I believe. I'm not much of a pompano fisherman. So if somebody's got that info, hey, correct me and let me know. That's great. Still, thank you, Sean, for the submission. Let's see what else we got on our inshore fishing. Again, we got some West Coast stuff going on from Dwayne. Look at that triple tail, solid. And we got a little kingfish going on here. So the triple tail, let's see. Have you been waiting all week for the fishing report? Hey, how you doing, Hunter, D Hunter? Thank you. Not a problem. Hey, listen, thank you for showing up. How about that? All right. Yes. So here we go. Triple tail. You got to go out. They find them by pilings and by the by lobster trap buoys and stuff on the West Coast. Triple tail are out in the Atlantic, right? But they don't grow like these giant ones. Getting a keeper, their 14-inch total length, I believe, is the regulation. And finding keepers anymore out in the Atlantic is it's brutally tough. But if you get them, keep them. All right, so that's our inshore stuff. All right, now we're gonna look a little bit, head out bit out onto the reef, right? The shallow reef. We got Michael headed out a 3-hour trip. Said he did some trolling and that was a bust, but he went and he hit up the reef and he got himself some mangroves, right? And it looks like the grunt in there, but still, hey, nice little. Better than getting completely skunked. He's going home with dinner. So the mangroves are still biting out there on, that's shallow reef. That's, stuff. Hey, Pedro, how you doing back home? Watching my favorite show. Thank you. Oh, Brutus says hello. Yeah, cheese it. I'm sure he'll be knocking at the door sometime soon. He ran out. All right. Yeah. Mangroves, right? Mangroves are, sandy flats in the little canals. They're called mangrove snapper for a reason, and they're on the, the shallow reefs. Here we go. Mike with a whopper of a mangrove snapper. So that's, that's Mike is something special when it comes to finding these giant mangroves. Look at this, man. That's mutton snapper sized mangrove. Whopper. So obviously, shallow reef, man, he might have caught that out a little bit deeper, but I'm looking at the color of the water and, that's a reef fish right there. It's a solid one too, man. It don't get much better than that. Let's see what we got going on for our inshore stuff. Here we go. Fritz. Yeah, right, Pedro? Wow is right. That doesn't. Here we go. Fritz submitted nice grouper, gag grouper right there. Solid catch, and he's got a couple of other fish that he caught and he's showing off on here. Let's see what he got. He got the gag grouper. He's got a nice mutton snapper here, right here. Same fella. So, he was on the fish. Obviously, I'm looking at their water depth here. They're in, you can see sand and reef. So, Bobber Bandit once again, thanks. Hey, hello. Thanks for showing up. Alrighty. So, gag grouper, nice mutton snapper. Let me see if they gave any info about where they got those goodies. Obviously, now it doesn't really look like there's any insider info, but hey, still, those are, if you look here, let me explain to you how I can tell the difference, right? Okay. So typically when you get a mutton snapper, if they're all pink, they're typically a deeper water mutton snapper. If they're greenbacks, which is what they're called, let me show you another picture of them. They're greenbacks. Those are typically the shallower ones, right? The ones that are all pink are deeper water ones. So right here, right, you see how this is Billy Bob. Some solid muttons, right? These greenbacks, once they're, you throw them on ice, that's how you know that they're in shallower. That's just a little bit of trivia when it comes to mutton snapper and people being able to tell you, hey, you got that inshore, or no, you got it more offshore off a wreck over deeper water or something. Anyway, Billy Bob with the shallow water mutton snapper haul right there. Great catch. Hey, back in town, going tomorrow. Cool, you better get out there because the wind's going to start blowing. Hello, James. How we doing? Thanks for showing up, everybody. All right, let's continue on with our inshore. So that's pretty much it for the inshore, right? So we've got, here's David. He went out and he did a little bit of everything. So this is a very interesting mixed bag right here, right? You can tell he's hit the reef. He's got a porgy, he's got a yellowtail, a couple of strawberry groupers going on. So that means he was somewhere in the 60 to 80, 90 foot range. And then he decided to head out to 800 feet and go pound a waist on some rosies. Okay, so solid haul, going home with some dinner. And I mean, if you look at that, that's, hey, maybe the reef wasn't doing it for him that day. Maybe it was a little rough. He said, all right, I'm starting to get these little groupers. Let's go out and definitely do some catching instead of fishing. And when you're doing rosies, that is what it's more like. It is catching and not less fishing. Once you are on them, you're on them. Got another, I believe, another haul. This is Milan. Nice haul of rosies right here. And again, 800 feet, you head out there, they're pretty much up and down the coast. You just got to find the spots. If you drop down and you get nothing, go and check it out. You've got to be over cobble to really get these. They're not much over mud because the mud areas are where the golden tilefish hang out. So if you're not over cobble, not over some stones, the rosies might not be there. So just check that out. I know if you head, you know, straight out of BOCA Inlet a little bit to the north, they're there. Same thing with, you know, Hillsborough. You head straight out of Hillsborough, actually, straight out to 800, and they're there. So it's just something to keep out. The more north you head towards Boynton and West Palm, they're a little bit more tricky to find. It. They're easier down in the, you know, the lower South Palm Beach to Fort Lauderdale area. All right. So that is what's up with our reef, right? The mutton snapper obviously made an appearance. The yellowtails, they are making an appearance, folks. The grouper, inshore, we've got sheep's head. If you're going, you know, really inshore, also on the beach, the pompano, bluefish, and the Spaniards are starting to show up. All right, so let's take a look at some trolling and see what we got going on here, right? Here we go. We got Gary. Went out and did a solo trip. Found himself. This is out of Haulover to the south. So, you know, this man makes it in and out of Haulover on a consistent basis. And Haulover is one of those inlets that is not the most friendly or for the faint of hearted. So he trolled 2 lines with white bucktail jigs. Quick catch. Realized he forgot ice, so he headed back in. Nice little skipjack and a football-sized black tuna. Gary, and, you know, I got to compliment him on his choice of shirts. Love it. All right, thanks, Gary, for the submission. And so, again, tuna, deep ledge of the third reef, 280 to 320 right there. So that's what it is. And white bucktail jigs. You know, folks, get you some. Spro is my favorite. If you are considering it, I would troll, you know, try ½ ounce, 3/4 ounce, and up to 1 ounce. Don't go much bigger than that. I find it to be very, you know, less productive. Once you get your bucktail jig more than 1 ounce, troll it 5 to 7 knots and look for the hookup. All right, here we go. Let's see. David Schnall. He so on top of his yellowtail and rosies, he ended up with a nice wahoo. So there we go. Looks like Marina 1 right there, to tell you the truth. All right. So, great. Tiger of the sea. You found the wahoo. You know, hey, can't complain. Like I said, the wahoo are out. You know, it's that time of year. They're going to be more productive and more around when the moon phases come. We've got the full moon approaching this weekend, and it's going to be bumpy out there to folks. So, but we'll talk about that in a minute. All right. So, wahoo off the deep edge. This is Captain Alex out of Marathon, but this big, nice size yellowfin tuna is off Guatemala. It's not off our shore. So still, thank you for the submission as always, Alex, keeping up with us. He got back from Alaska. Now he's out, you know, in the Pacific. He's living the dream, right? Here we go. Milan, another one. So we saw another, this gentleman, another guy who did rosies and then also ended up with a wahoo. So let me show you this. He sent in a little video of this. So let's check out the wahoo, right? Oh, it's not going to let me blow it up. Sorry, folks. Let me get back to it. All right. Where's that wahoo? Right there. Wahoo video. There we go. Bam. Wahoo on the boat. Nice. Got to love it when that happens. So, you know, obviously we had a couple of people who hit the rosies and the wahoo. Perfect. All right. Let's see. David also, on top of his wahoo, he ended up with the mahi, keeper mahi. Perfect. You know, taco time, folks, right? The mahi are still swimming around there. They are not completely abundant, but, you know, hey, if you get them, keep them. Can't complain. What else do we got going on? We got the mutton snapper, the rosies, triple tail. Here we go. Carlos. Nice little bull dolphin right here. Check that out. Definitely fun when you can run into those this time of year, right? You don't got you get him. He's a gaffer. You don't got to worry about measuring them or nothing. So perfect. So this is just proving yet again that the dolphin are out there. You can see the coastline, which means, you know, he's, you know, 5 miles or so offshore. You know, probably somewhere, I would say between 300 and 600. But that's just guesstimating from what I see back here in the, you know, the horizon with the coastline. Let's see what else we got going on, folks, and then we'll get to the weather report and let everybody get back online. Here, Jay Polsky. Come on, open up. Got this one. He actually told me that he got this This amberjack trolling. Let me zoom in on it here a little bit. Yeah, he said he was trolling the reef, and the next thing you know, line started screaming out. As you can see right here, he's got the little squirt squid. Amberjack on the troll. So it's not impossible, folks. They're not entirely a bottom fishing drifting thing. Buddy came up and nabbed the trolling line. So perfect. All right. So that's pretty much our fishing report for the week, folks, right? Everything's great. We've got a ton of submissions, and they're all over the place, which is good. That what we're talking about is consistent fishing everywhere from inshore to offshore. And we got Lafayette Maloney went to the marina, and I mean, $1 million CV votes. What can we say? All right, folks. So let's turn that one off. All right. So again, just to recap, she said inshore, in the inlets, in the canals, the intercoastal, you're going to find them. There's a multitude of different ways to fish for the sheep's head, right? You chip off some of the growth around the pilings and stuff. They'll come and eat that. Inshore, the real inshore, the surf fishing, right? We've got the pompano showing up in full force. They're going to be followed by schools of bluefish and Spanish mackerel. Offshore on the reefs, we've got the mangrove snapper. They're still doing it, so but they're not real offshore. That's 30 to 50 feet-ish, and also the lower down, further south you go, Biscayne Bay down into the Keys. They're in the shallow grassy flats. You just chum them up. The yellowtail. It is yellowtail time of year, right? Make sure you got current. Make sure you got chum, and beware that the cirro mackerel swim with them. We are also in kingfish season. The false albacore are sort of going away, right? So the kingfish are going to bite. The wahoo are going to bite. The football tunas are going to bite. The skipjack tunas are going to be swimming around with them also. Mahi are still around. They're scattered. You got to search for them and find them. It's either hit or miss with them. So, I would say if you're going for mahi, go for mahi. Don't go, I'm going to do a little bit of reef fishing, trolling, and then I'll go out and find it, unless you're going to plan on being all darn day, running up and down the globe. All right, so that about does it for our fishing report, folks. That was fun. Let's get right into our weather. Okay, we're going to check out windy. Like I said, we've got a couple of okay days. It's a little bumpy out there right now on the sea, but we got the rest of today, which obviously is done. Tomorrow, it's going to be okay, and tomorrow late afternoon, we've got another cold front coming through. But the thing about it is our wind is going to shift from the west back to the east real quick, so we won't have too much of cold weather going on. So this is today. Let's look at tomorrow in the morning, right? We've got southeasterly winds coming, right? If you look down here at our color-coded chart, it looks like we are in the mid-teens going on. Let's zoom out a little bit. And as you can see, this is the wind in front of that cold front that's going to come. So, this is in the morning. Let's look. This is 4 p.m. tomorrow. They're saying it's going to be somewhere, around Indiantown, Stewart, pushing on through, and our weather is going to start picking up, and all that lower Keys and everything, Everglades National Park, everywhere. Look, Tampa Bay is going to be getting nailed. Everything. So as the front pushes through, it's going to make the windy conditions, and it's going to kick up our seas, like I said. So, and it's going to stay windy throughout the weekend. And I will show you as I try to do a little bit of pre-planning and take a look at this. So I'm not just, winging it. All right. So like I said, it's going to, after the cold front pushes through tomorrow, Thursday morning, we're looking at winds coming from the northeast, right? It's solid over 20s, inland, inshore a little bit, upper teens, but offshore, it's going to be kicking it, and it's going to, sort of wreck the seas all the way down from, everywhere. The more north you go, the winds will be a little bit less, but it's going to be brutal. Thursday afternoon, let's look at about 5 p.m. Same thing. Our wind is starting to shift more northeasterly. Like I said, the wind it's not going to come from the west pushing it. It's going to make this shift really quickly. So as you can see, we're not going to get that westerly wind behind the cold front, which will create a swell. It's going to shift back from the northeast real quick. And that's going to, stir the seas up real good. So hopefully once this weather system passes, maybe we get a day or two in the following week, and that'll stir the seas up. That'll make the fish hungry, and you should be able to get on the bite good once this settles down. Friday, let's see what we got here. Friday morning, again, like I said, a little bit less, but we, inshore stuff is mid to high teens. Offshore is in the 20s, still blowing. On the leeward side of the island, you might be doable out, Marco Island, all this stuff, Tampa Bay. Your wind's blowing this way, so you've got the protection of the land. So inshore would be okay, but off, as you head out into federal waters and stuff where the water gets deeper, it's going to be brutal. Keys are going to be getting hammered, along with, Vero down into the Tri-County area. That's Friday morning, Friday afternoon. It picks up Friday afternoon. Let's look at Saturday, 8 a.m. Like I said, the wind's still ripping. It's going to carry through all the way through into Sunday, right? We are not going to see the wind give way. Coming from the northeast still Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, starting to turn a little bit more easterly, but still ripping. Inshore, within the 3 to 5 mile marker, you're high teens. Offshore, where swordfish grounds, rosies, all that deep drop stuff. It's brutal. By the way, we're in December. It is December 10th. 21-day countdown until golden tilefish season opens for 9 days. But hey, I'm excited for it, and hopefully the wind gives us a break. Love to get out and get at least one golden tilefish before they shut the fishery down. Just a side note. All right, Sunday, 6 a.m. Looks like it starts to let up a little bit, right, folks? So Sunday, and then I believe as the week starts to progress, we might see the wind go away. So this is Sunday. We're still, high teens. The further up north you go, you're up into Vero Beach, you're getting pounded. Sunday afternoon, starting to let up. Monday, 6 a.m. The wind's still coming from the northeast. That good off. Down in the Fort Lauderdale, Miami area offshore, you're still steady above 20s. And that's Monday, right? Monday afternoon. It's still from the northeast, folks. So like I said, the fan has not turned off. So, you had today to get out there. Tomorrow, it's going to pick up quickly, right? So if you get out and do it, and then, get back. Be safe. Tuesday morning, 7 a.m. We're still in the mid to high teens, way more up north, Cocoa Beach area. They got a little lull, but it's still ripping. We are in fall, gonna head into winter, right? So just think about keep that in mind when you think about the weather. So Tuesday afternoon, it starts looking like it wants to let up a little bit, and we'll take a look at Wednesday morning. Wednesday morning, it looks like it. So this is just a forecast. Hopefully it decreases a little bit quicker than the forecast says, but unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen. All right, so let's go back to tomorrow, 7 a.m. We are going to look at our waves. Let's look at the waves, right? So we look at our color coding here. We're looking at solid 3-footers. 2 to 4 at least, all the way up into Vero Beach. Biscayne Bay looks like it's even getting some 2-footers. Obviously, the area of the Everglades National Park and the park side, the Gulf side of the Keys is not too bad. That's extremely shallow water. That's protected. But the Atlantic side, it's brutal out there right now, folks. Right. So let's go, and that's tomorrow morning. So if you're going to get out and do it, that is going to be your day for the remainder of the week, especially small craft. I'm sure there'll be small craft advisories. Tomorrow afternoon, 5 p.m., here comes the water being pushed by that cold front, and it's inevitably coming. So let's look at Thursday, 6 a.m. We got, it's brutal, right? Confused sea. Waves are in every which direction. The closer you get to shore, they'll be coming. It might be a swell temporarily, but it's as that wind shifts, back from the east, it's going to be brutal out there. Thursday afternoon, 5 p.m. Again, all that water mass is being pushed. This bright pink color, if you look around here, is 7, 8, 9 foot seas. Okay. Friday, 8 a.m. Still got that weather pushing. And remember, by this time, that wind has shifted to the northeast. So you've got these northeast waves coming at you that we're going to look at the period and see what they say. But with the waves and the wind coming the same direction, this will more than likely not be that swell that you get when you have a west wind pushing it. All right, Friday afternoon, same thing, man. The West Coast looks like it's getting a break in, inshore all the way down, Everglades National Park, all that stuff, Tampa Bay. But the East Coast is getting hammered. Saturday, 6 a.m., more of the same, man. Vero Beach is looking like it's even getting rougher up there. They're looking, 10 plus down into Fort Lauderdale area. Biscayne Bay is shallow water, so you can't really talk that. We'll talk about, offshore. And it's, again, still holding out in the, 7, 8 foot range. Going to be brutal out there. What else? Let's see. Let's continue on into, this is a Saturday afternoon. Oof, that big swell is coming and it's pushing down south. These are 15 foot plus waves right here, folks. That's no joke right there. The lower we go down, time to go shrimping. I agree with you. It's one of those things where you don't want to even bother with the inlet. Okay, so let's continue. Right, West Coast again, protected leeward side. When your landmass is protecting you and you've got your wind blowing this way, they got, it's easy goings in state waters, but trust me, the more they head offshore, that wind touches the water and it picks it up. So this is a Saturday afternoon. Let's look Sunday morning, 6 a.m. It looks like the swell is starting, this horrible water mass is starting to push away somewhat. The Keys are, getting a little less, but the Keys are still 3 to 5, all the way down to the lower Keys. Again, the West Coast is looking nice, but the East Coast is still being punished. Sunday morning, we'll look into Sunday afternoon. Again, the waves are still there. Monday, 8 a.m. Monday. Man, like I said, it keeps on going, keeps on giving. So this, again, and this is just the forecast again, folks. So, but, do your due diligence, use your inlet cams, use these resources. Again, if you're new to the channel, all these websites that I'm showing you, Windy, WindFinder, NOAA, all the links are in the description. Click on them and use them at your disposal. Monday afternoon, looks like the waves are starting to retreat. Let's look a little bit into Tuesday morning, 7 a.m. Yep, they're starting to retreat. So we'll be looking at, 2 to 4 come Tuesday morning. Tuesday afternoon, again, the water starting to retreat, and Tri-County area, you're looking at 2 to 4 going on, maybe a little less. You might be able to get out. Let's look at Wednesday, just see if it's more promising. Yep, Wednesday looks more promising heading into the afternoon, definitely. So, hopeful that come the end of next week, we don't get another weather event, and maybe we'll get a couple of days in a row like we had this past week. All right, so let's head up, and we're going to look at now. We're going to head to the moisture content in the air, and even with this front pushing through, it's not going to be much. The rain is going to die out before it even gets us. So here it is right now, right? This is Wednesday. This is tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon. You can see the front's already, the mass of it is already, they're predicting to push it, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. to push through South Florida. It could be a little later. It could stall out a little bit or whatnot, but it's not, by the time it gets to us, it's not really going to be, the rain will start breaking up somewhere around Indian Town, Stewart area. By the time it gets to South Florida, Palm Beach County, the Tri-County area, it's going to fizzle out. You might get, a spotty shower or two. We could use the rain, of course. It's been fairly dry, but it's not going to be anything like what you're looking at right here as it passes through the Orlando area. Okay, Thursday, again, dry air after front passes through. The wind is going to shift really quickly to the east Thursday afternoon. Again, going to be dry after this. So, break out the sprinklers again Friday morning. Not much, a little bit in the air being pushed from, the onshore breeze coming from the northeast. So it's going to warm us up again too, right? So it won't stay cold. It'll stay cold maybe Thursday morning. And after that, our morning lows will probably, Thursday morning will be in the 50s. And then after that, we're going to increase up into, the mid to high 60s for our morning lows. This is Friday afternoon. A little bit of moisture in the sky, not a lot. Saturday morning, again, same thing. Clouds, some moisture, but no storms. Doesn't look like that. Saturday afternoon, maybe a little bit of stuff. So we've got the wind pushing it. So it's possible maybe a little bit of, again, nothing major. South Florida showers and last, 5-10 minutes. Not much longer than that. Sunday, a little bit of rain coming up north. Not much. This is in the morning. Sunday afternoon, a little bit. So back to that little bit of a typical weather pattern going on in the afternoon where it builds up. Monday morning, not much, pretty dry. Monday afternoon, not really much going on. Tuesday morning, dry. So as you can see, we're not going to really have much rain events as we head in from fall into winter. We got dry skies except for when the fronts pass through. All right, so that's that. Let's take a look at windy and keep WindFinder and keep rocking on right here, right? All right, so let's look at this. Here we go. WindFinder, which is the numeric version of what we just looked at. So tomorrow, winds from the south, southeast, and start turning around as the, from the northwest as the front passes through. Winds will be in the teens, and then they will slowly pick up as the front comes through during the nighttime. Not very gusty. Like I said, dry air. Our waves right now are coming, tomorrow they're saying, 2 to 4, 5-second period, right? So it's going to be bumpy out there if you're considering getting out there tomorrow. After that, Thursday, winds from the north, northeast, Friday, northeast, steady. Thursday, right after the front in the 20s, gusting up to mid-20s. Not very gusty, but still, a little bit. Friday, again, steady high teens, gusting into the 20s. We've got northeast waves at 7 to 9 feet, 7 to 8 feet, 7 to 8 second period. That's not really a swell, folks. If you're heading out, it's gonna be super sporty out there. But hey, this is sailfish weather if you're brave like that. This is when the sailfish bite is going to be hot. All right, Saturday, again, northeast winds. Still same high teens both days, mid to high teens. Sunday, gusting up into the 20s. A little bit of precipitation going on, but not much. Again, still the same thing, 7 to 8 foot waves, decreasing to around 6 foot or so, with the period getting longer as we head into Sunday with that 9 to 10 second period. So just, again, be aware, 9 to 10 second period is forming into a swell after the initial onslaught of this front that's going to hit us. Give it a couple of days. But still, 6 foot swell is nothing to be, not for the faint hearted. Monday into Tuesday, northeast winds still pushing all that water, right? 9 second period with about 5 to 6 foot, and same thing, 4 to 5 on Tuesday. Steady high teens. So it's really it's kind of brutal out there for the next week at least. So we'll see if this forecast holds. Unfortunately, tomorrow. Hey, Sergio, been watching videos, prepping for a weekend this week. You're brave if you're heading out this weekend. I mean, inshore stuff, Biscayne Bay, way down south, is okay. But that's a totally different beast than offshore fishing, right? So just, keep in mind. And if anybody's heading out there, be safe, folks. All right, let's take a look at NOAA. NOAA is going to say the same thing that everybody else is saying, just in a more broader sense, right? All right, so let's see. Tomorrow they're saying winds 10 to 15, gusts up to 20, seas 2 to 3 feet. That's in the morning. And again, Wednesday night, it will start picking up 20 to 25. Oh, you were supposed to definitely take a look at the WindFinder and Windy. It's going to be pretty rough. Where are you going out of, Sergio? If you don't mind me asking. Yeah, Wednesday night comes the front, 4 to 6 feet. Thursday night, 20 to 25 knots, 7 to 10 feet. You go out of Port Everglades, yeah, it's going to be brutal out there. Saturday is more than likely going to be, if you look right here, you're looking at 20 to 25 knot winds, seas 5 to 8 feet. So, yeah, it's out of PE this weekend. It's going to be rough unless you are on a sport fish. That's like one of those, a merit, 70-foot merit or something, and you really got your sea legs and, your navigation skills are spot on. Other than that, I'd save it for another day. Because then again, you can be like Pedro. Pedro goes and catch fish everywhere. Fish to intracoastal and, go for the sheep's head. Shoreline fishing this weekend is probably going to be brutal because of the wind. Yep. All right, so that's NOAA for us, folks. Yeah, into the weekend and early next week is brutal. The onslaught is coming starting tomorrow night. It's just going to get unbearable. So, all right, so let's take a look at our moon phase. Even though we got a great moon for wahoo fishing coming, but ultimately, does it matter? Not really. Still, all right, so waxing moon, right? Waxing means we're heading towards the full moon. Waning means we are heading towards the dark side of the moon. So right now we're waxing 73%, right? Tomorrow, Wednesday, 83%. Thursday, 91%. These are the days you would want to head out for wahoo when the seas are going to be 8 to 9 feet, unfortunately. Friday, 96%, Saturday, 99%, Sunday. So in Saturday into Sunday, we got the full moon. Monday, we start waning, which means we start heading towards the dark side of the moon. 98%. Tuesday, 93%. So if we are lucky enough to have the winds die down sometime, midweek next week, remember, your wahoo fishing, if you're fishing by the moon phase, is always good, a few days before, a few days after. That full moon always kind of, turns pelagics off because they're feeding all night because they can see the bait. Bait fishermen, like for the guys who go for goggle eyes, do not fish under these full moon conditions. They're just not around. All right, so that's our moon phase. It's looking great, but it's looking great for the wahoo, but your pelagics and your reef fish are kind of going to, the bite will slow down as that moon phase gets brighter because all the bait can be seen. They don't got to go on strictly hearing and taste and smell and vibrations through the water. They can actually see the shadows and chase down dinner. All right, let's talk about our tides. Again, tides are, specifically, they work a lot for, watching when you're fishing. A tide change sometimes turns the bite off, sometimes it turns it on, but it's specifically for when you're fishing those inlets and that water flow. Again, if you're fishing the water flow of an inlet, you want this to be happening, the tide going out. If you're fishing an inlet, like you're a shore fisherman, you're fishing a jetty, if your tide is coming in, if the water is coming in from the ocean, you are going to catch nothing. You always have to fish the outgoing tide. The phenomenon is water going out pushes out all the sediments, the microorganisms, phosphorescence, phytoplankton, everything. Little fish come in and eat that crap. And then the big fish come in and they eat the little fish. And that is how the outgoing tide works with inlets. Okay, so just bear that in mind. That goes for the guys who got boats and can get offshore. If you're fishing that water flow, you're jigging, you're yellowtailing, you're trolling for wahoo or whatever you are, right outside looking for that color change. If the tide's not going out, don't do it. Go find other place, fish the reef, fish structure, and watch your tide change, right? All right, so right now we're looking good. Wednesday, if you're able to get out mid-morning, you got that tide flow. Go out there and fish that water flow. As we head into the weekend, you'll be more at the top of the fall of the tide. You'll be closer to what they call ebb tide or slack tide, right? When it starts to start pulling, so it would give you more time to fish. Again, as we head into Friday and Saturday, as day breaks, right, you're right at the top of the tide change. So if, let's say you're a jetty fisherman, you get out there, you want to get out there and you can do it, and it's not too brutal with the wave breaking, you get out there and you've got plenty of time to fish until that tide changes and the sun gets up high. Again, fishing jetties, you've got two things working against you. You've got your tides. You've got to have an outgoing tide. And then again, in the middle of the day, you know, once your sun's up high and the shadows go away between like 11 and let's say 2, that fishing kind of turns off no matter what your tide is, because fish are fish. Yep, Pedro. There you go. Pedro's going to be out there in the pier. If you see him, take his advice. He shows week after week that he knows what he's doing and he knows where to find them. So they're there. All right. So that about does it for all this goodness, folks. I wish I had better news. Hopefully next week the forecast changes. Man, my boat misses me. I miss it too. Anyway, before we head off, folks, I want to say, everybody, if you are in the market for some fishing apparel, specifically a fishing shirt, you're looking for UPF 50 shirts, go on ahead and check out WindFinDer. The link is in the description. These are South Florida saltwater fishing shirts. They got them with these are, like I said, they're UPF 50. They're quick drying. They keep you cool in the sun. They keep you warm in the snow. They got hoods, they got gaiters, they got the logo. You can get the logo on the front, on the back of it, whatever you want. If you want one with just a hood, you can get one with just a hood. And again, you can have the logo, put it on the front or the back. They're completely customizable. If you don't want one, you can just get the regular long sleeve shirt. Again, if you're in the market for some fishing apparel and you want the shirt, the great thing about these shirts is you don't have to use sunscreen when you are wearing them. I hate using sunscreen. I like the ones with the hoods. I throw on a hat and I get out there. Personal preference, cool. So if you're in the market, like I said, go on ahead, check it out, and support the brand. All right, folks, that about does it for that one. And the last thing before we kill it for the night, if you are on Facebook, which I hope you are, please consider joining the South Florida Saltwater Fishing Report on Facebook. It looks like this. This is what, there's Pedro right there, right? Check him out. He's going fishing for more sheep's head. South Florida Saltwater Fishing Report looks like this, minus the date. It is the right here. You just ask. It's a private group. It's not public. I do not let bots join my group. You got to answer a couple questions. What's your favorite fish? And do you agree to the rules? The rules are simple. No selling, no spamming, no YouTube videos, all that stuff. Submit your fish, submit your catch. Every Monday, we drop this particular little thing. If you put a submission in there, you're guaranteed to end up on the show. And you always have the chance of being the thumbnail for the live stream on the YouTube channel that particular week. So, a couple little goodies. And again, it lets everybody else know who sees it. Hey, this is what's being caught. Anybody who offers a little bit of information, Jason Reese, Pedro, there's people always offer little tidbits, and you can also see what they're catching their fish on there. So, it's a great little community going on here. Again, we're not saying, hey, give us your GPS numbers to your spots. That's not the intention. The intention is to say, hey, this is what I caught. These fish are swimming around. So if you're trying to plan your up and coming trip, here's what's going on out there offshore. All right. So again, South Florida Saltwater Fishing Report. This is the Facebook page that directly runs this show. Thank you very much, David. I appreciate it. Yes, again, we're not trying to hide anything here. Fishing's hard enough without people being secretive. All right, folks, that about does it for this week. Thank you, everyone, for showing up. And I wish I had better news about the weather, but if there anything changes drastically, I'll be sure to put it in the report. And but I just wish it would go away. All right, hope for the best next week. We'll see you all next Tuesday. Until then, South Florida saltwater fishing, going wherever the cool wind takes us.